DLB.
What up, world? It's your boy Chuck with Ill, aka Charles Brown, back again with another review. But first, I want to ask, are you good? Good. All right, man. It's a whole new world out here. I ain't gonna start singing to you, but it's crazy, bro. Rest in peace to George Floyd. We got a lot of problems, man. It's a crazy situation going on right now, but we gonna move forward, get through it together. You know what I'm saying? Just stay focused, man. We need to keep some semblance, some normalcy. And that's why I'm here doing this review. All right? So the next review I'm about to do is about your boy, Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Joint's called ALFREDO. Right? So, let me start this off by saying I didn't even know that ALFREDO was Alchemist and Freddie combined. Like, I'm like, why they call that joint ALFREDO? But ALFREDO is Al mixed with Freddie. ALFREDO, boom. That's why you got that. And it makes sense after you figure out that that's what the metaphor is for. Not the metaphor, but, you know, whatever you want to call it when you put two words together. Like Bennifer and all that good stuff like that. But Freddie Gibbs, man. So listen, this is what I want to say about Freddie Gibbs. First of all, this is another one of those that I got some work to do. You understand? I know it's big time Freddie Gibbs fans out there who gonna be like, man, you crazy, you ain't listen to Freddie, man. Da, da, da. I've been hearing Freddie Gibbs' name, just like Tyler the Creator. I've been hearing Freddie Gibbs since all hip hop, since 07, 08, like 06, 07, 08. I've been hearing his name linked with many different affiliations. Your boy Young Jeezy and all these different people. It seemed like every time I looked up, this dude was on another label, doing another song, doing another record. And eventually, he sparked that movement that a lot of us was actually, I'm not going to say scared to do. We just didn't know how to do. Freddie, Currency, who else does this? The hieroglyphics. Who else does this independent movement that they can make money from it? It's not easy. Like Chance, the rapper, says he does it. People try to say it's not really that indie like they say, but Chance does it. I believe your boy out of Maryland, Logic, I believe he's indie. Quite a few indie people, but there was only a few indie people that really knew how to be indie, and one of them is Freddie Gibbs. When that whole narrative of I get the whole $8 off my album and you get 50 cents off every album you make because you want a late or major, and when you indie you get the whole 8, you get the whole 11, da da da. That whole narrative is around the time they've been saying it forever, right? But that narrative really took hold when Currency got dropped and started to do stuff independently. And I think Killer Mike did the same thing. When it appeared that Outkast had folded, Killer Mike just kept dropping music, and kept staying relevant. Whereas a lot of the other Dungeon members fell off. Witch Doctor and a bunch of Goody Mob dudes. A lot of them dudes did not continue their reign. They did not continue to make music. And Killer Mike continued to make music under this indie banner. And Currency continued to make music under the indie banner. Freddie Gibbs, a lot of people was doing that. And a lot of them didn't make it through. Like your boy, what was his name? Hamilton, something Hamilton. Can't remember his name, but I talked about him before. But, and the guy, I Love College dude, all these guys, a lot of these guys couldn't make their indie niche. It didn't work. It didn't stick. And a lot of them just fell off. And Charles Hamilton. And a lot of them just fell off. And a few of them rose to the top. Even indie singers. I think like, don't correct me if I'm wrong, I think Janae Aiko was indie. And I think there's a couple other females that was indie and just maintained a certain level of popularity that kept them in the spotlight. I believe that one of the most popular indie people, I mean, I don't know if we want to say Wu-Tang was indie or not. I mean, I know they had Wu-Tang records and things like that. And I know that after Loud folded, and Wu-Tang continued with Wu-Tang Records and things like that. I don't know how indie that was. I believe Wu is indie to some degree. I'm just not sure how indie we're going to say Wu-Tang is. I'm not sure if they had a major deal or what have you. But everything in the South was indie. Like everything in the South, they was going out the trunk. A lot of stuff in the West Coast. The West Coast still thrived just for the fact that they indie. You know what I'm saying? Like Nipsey was indie as you get. You know what I'm saying? Even after he got off I believe he got signed and then either left or got dropped, and he embodied the whole indie name. So I believe that Currency, Freddie Gibbs, people of that nature carried this flag to where now we can say it's respectable. I believe Mobb Deep was respectable with this. Just a lot of people. As that went forward, I started to notice that you could actually get paid. Because when I was trying to be indie, you couldn't make no money. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're pressing up all these CDs. You got a stack, you got 100 CDs, all these tapes, got 1,000 tapes, all these posters and flyers, and you couldn't make no money. You had to stand out in front of, like, restaurants and barbershops and say, yo, cuz, can I, you know what I'm saying? Can you buy this off me? Like, support the local. And, yeah, in theory, you could stand there. You got to have a grind mentality, though. You could stand there for hours and hustle your tapes, and yeah, you could sell 10, 15 tapes a day. That's $150 a day at $10 a tape or what have you. But seriously, like, who really gonna really do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, you got the certain ones that is that dedicated to it and that confident in their music just to open a trunk and sell them out, or to put up a table and sell them, or stand in front of a restaurant. But that's annoying when you're trying to go get something to eat and they blocking your way to getting where you're going. Like, cuz, can you support? I don't want to be that guy standing in front of you trying to get you to buy a CD you never heard from a person you don't know just to get them out your face. I've bought CDs with nothing on the cover, with nothing on the CD, the blank CD. Right? It could have just been, and I never played it. I've given people $10 for a CD with no writing on it, no name on it, nothing. I just give it to you, just so you can move. You know what I'm saying? Or they'd be like, whatever you could do. I give them $5. You know what I'm saying? They give me two of them. That could be a blank CD. I never played it. Sometimes I did play it, but the ones I really played was the ones that have. I want to know who you are. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what the name of your group is. What's your socials, and you know what I'm saying? How can I find you if I really like this music? You know what I'm saying? And some people don't know how to market that stuff when they hand you CDs. Yeah, it got something on it, but it ain't, the information outdated. Some of it's wrong, and you know what I'm saying? Like, make a long story short, that's what indie is in a lot of cases. That's a horrible representation of indie. So when I was in the game trying to sell this and that, trying to do hand-to-hand indie stuff, it's discouraging. And I know it's a lot of people that can relate to being discouraged trying to be quote-unquote indie. Before you could get your stuff on iTunes so easy, before you can get your stuff on mixtape sites so easy, it wasn't this easy. This wasn't like the way they got it now. You could put your whole album up on 15 different sites in one day. You know what I'm saying? So you basically knew how hard it was. So I'm basically saying all that to say this. Freddie Gibbs has outlasted and outplayed many MCs in this game, many rappers that have claimed to be indie, have claimed to be, we're doing this we're doing this so big, you need to be independent, own your masters, all this stuff. Some of these dudes owning 100% of nothing. You know what I'm saying? And when I see a dude that can actually take that work that he's done, actually go to studio and make music that actually is going to resonate. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that's going to make a song and collab with other people like Madlib, Alchemist, and people actually pay for it or stream it to some degree, and this dude could tour off of that. You have to applaud that. And I say all that to say this. I did not follow Freddie Gibbs like I should have. I thought he was a niche act. I thought it was like more so for a certain demographic. You know what I'm saying? I always heard of him and Currency and a couple other people. You know, I heard their like collaborations on other people's projects, like a verse here, verse there. But Never to the point where I listen to the complete projects of these guys, and that's something that I gotta handle on my own. You know what I'm saying? I gotta follow up and double back and see what I need to hear from these people, because getting into these reviews made me want to hear more people, right? So a lot of stuff that I probably wouldn't have heard, because there are albums I've heard that I did not review because I didn't like them. You know what I'm saying? But I never heard the person before. You know what I'm saying? I would have never listened to DaBaby. Never. But then I do reviews, I listen to it. You know what I'm saying? And I did a review. But a lot of times before I was doing reviews, I just wouldn't listen to it. I didn't have no interest in it. It didn't catch my curiosity. You know what I'm saying? Like, Daylight comes out, I'm on that. You know what I'm saying? Tribe come out, I'm on that. Stuff that I already knew. It was hard to catch me with a new artist. Like I said when I reviewed Kendrick, Kendrick had already dropped a couple joints before I got to Kendrick like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I got onto Kendrick till Good Kid, Mad City. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't really say that I don't respect these artists. I just don't always go after their music when they drop. You know what I'm saying? So basically, this one caught my attention. I had my dude Lou was like, you got to hear that Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist. He also told me to hear the Freddie Gibbs and Mad Lib. But when he co-signed the Freddie Gibbs and Alchemist, I was like, I'm going to go ahead and give it a shot. I'm going to go ahead and listen to it. And when I heard it, that joint was fire. That joint was fire. I was like, yo, I don't know why I took so long to get into this album. You know what I'm saying? I don't know why I felt like this type of artist wasn't going to be for me. I thought it was more backpacky, more, I'm nice on this mic, da-da-da-da. I didn't know that it was, this type of thing. So like I said, I should have been paying attention more to Freddie Gibbs and Currency and all these other people of that nature, but I didn't. I did not. That's on me. That's my own loss, because dude making fire music. It seemed like Griselda has brought a lot of people to the table that wasn't paying attention before, such as myself. And I think this Freddie Gibbs is going to work because of people like Griselda being consistent with this lo-fi, sample heavy. They're bringing back just pure digging in the crates, looping something, and they're getting the right guys for that. Alchemist is the perfect producer for this. Alchemist can do pretty much any lane of production that you're asking for. And by him getting involved with this Freddie, I don't know how they came along, but it seemed like Alchemist finds the most prevalent MCs in the game, the most skilled, you know what I'm saying, just the best MCs in the game, and he seems to figure out a way to work with him. And I think that this guy Alchemist could be one of the most slept on producers in the history of rap. We don't bring his name up enough. We really, really don't. We don't bring him and my guy from Little Brother. We don't bring him up enough either. Rhapsody's producer. I'm bugging right now. But we don't bring these guys up enough, and I think they deserve more credit. Alchemist has probably worked some of the best records in the history of rap. Like, his name is on a lot of these records that we revere as top five. So without further ado, with that being said, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm going to go into this album review. And I promise you that I will be listening to much more Freddie Gibbs than I have up to this point, because dude was dope. And I saw the little thing that him and Academics had, where Freddie said something about snitching, he made a random post about snitches, just in general, snitches in general. And Crime Stoppers, I believe, was involved with the post. And we all know that this dude, Gunna, was on Crime Stoppers. And we also know that in the year of 2020, besides coronavirus and police brutality, one of the main topics in rap is snitching, thanks to Tekashi 6ix9ine. So Freddie drops this thing about snitching, right? Act responds to it, saying Freddie is going at Gunna for snitching. I believe that's how this went. And then Freddie went back saying, you bloggers always yada yada yada, basically saying you putting your foot in. I ain't talking about Gunna, I'm just talking in general, right? And now whoever feel away, feel away. So this time, I'm before I review this album, I want to say something about this. At the end of the day, right? If it's a conversation about snitching out of nowhere, right? And it's a guy on Crime Stoppers that they bringing up because his album drops and he goes #1, so they bringing back this snitching stuff. And I type something about just randomly about snitches going on Crime Stoppers. This is literally the only person I'm talking about, right? I mean, if we being honest, let's just be honest. You know what I'm saying? So him and I go back and forth, and that goes like, oh, you coming at the blogger instead of the rappers that you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Which you got a point. Listen, I like Freddie Gibbs. I like what I'm hearing with his verses. The beat select, the music, the shit's dope. Dude seemed like a stand-up individual. He got caught up in a fake rape charge. And I really felt for this dude when I didn't know his music like that, but I knew when he got caught up in that rape charge and they had him overseas, just like they did A$AP Rocky. I was like, man, I really was not in any kind of way feeling that. I was like, this is lame, and I really hope this dude don't do no real time behind this, because you can clearly see that it's lame. I saw like it was Rolling Stone or some book, some magazine that he did a interview with, and you can clearly see that the dude was innocent, in my opinion. But he got out, all is well. He done did about 3 albums since that and all that. But at the end of the day, if you say something in regards to snitching, right? And the topic is snitching, there's only 2 people you're talking about right now. You're only talking about Tekashi 6ix9ine, or you're talking about Gunna. And that was the only thing that I saw that I kind of was like, all right, I gotta see where this dude head is at, because this seemed like a move a little bit for publicity in a way. You know what I'm saying? In my opinion, it felt like almost him going to act so hard, it felt almost contrived because he was going to drop an album. But it's a game. Rap is WWE, and it is what it is. If you whatever you got to do to get them ears on your album and them eyes on your album and on your video, then it is what it is. Some of it's cool, some of it's not. Some of the stuff these people do to get the album to move is not. Kind of like Machine Gun Kelly when he came at Eminem and then dropped the album right at that same time, which the album did nothing. You know what I'm saying? He dissed Eminem with arguably one of the dopest diss records ever against Eminem. Like, seriously. But he tried to drop an album at the same time and it flopped. So sometimes it don't work. But I say all that to say this. Freddie Gibbs seemed like a stand-up individual. The one chink in the armor was that little back and forth with academics, and I think he deaded that quick and got back to business with these raps. So I'm going to get to business with this review. Freddie Gibbs and The Alchemist. Very potent combination. The album is called Track 1, 1985. Right? I don't got to tell you who the producer is, because all of them is produced by The Alchemist. A lot of times I'll go through and say the producer of each track, but I'm not going to be saying that because The Alchemist is the producer on every single track. Track 1, 1985. It's a slow tempo guitar riff, a Bernie Mac intro, one of Bernie Mac's classic stand-up routines, which sets the tone of the song, the mood of the album off really well. An electric bass line, a soulful rock feel, cool keys underneath holding it all together. It's a dope 70s sample that makes this track, the whole album is like this. It sets the album. There's 10 songs on here. All 10 songs have this black exploitation feel to it, and between the 70s and 60s and you know, hippie to soulful to, you know, blues, is all in here. And Alchemist knew the feel of what he was going for. It's like almost a 4/4/4, but it's actually a little better. It's different, right? So Freddie's his staggered staccato type flow is masterful to me. The drug and street life references fit perfectly over this ghetto feeling beat. It feels like you're right back in the middle of the 70s where they rocking Chuck Taylors and they carrying switchblades and they sniffing coke. Like, it just feels like you're back in the day. And he's capturing it perfect. It's his grown man rap, but it's not offensive. Next track, track 2, God is Perfect. It's a muffled kick with a rim shot type snare, repetitive melodic piano riff with a slow to medium tempo feel to the whole track. Freddie spits more authentic sounding street raps. He paints a vivid feel to the track mood, and it feels like nighttime music. I count at least 5 to 6 different rhyme flows. The schemes, like, this dude is a masterclass MC, and I like I said, I did not listen to his stuff before, but I will be double checking to see what I missed, because this dude probably got stuff that is this level or even better that I do want to go back and follow. I'm going to go back and listen to the Mad Lab one and see how that pairs up to this one, but this is quality. This is like buckshots over these beats. This dude is nasty. You know what I'm saying? He's confident. It just gives it a lot of replay value, in my opinion. You catch different lines and bars every time you hear it to me, and it's not over exaggerated gang talk. It sounds believable. It's grown man stuff. It's like, this isn't like glorifying what I did, but I did what I did, and I appreciate that. Next track, Scotty Beam featuring Rick Ross. Now this track is, all these tracks are in the same vein, so it's not going to go too left to right, which in a way makes a quality album. You can have an album that has 100 different styles and it still be a dope album too. But the most effective concept albums are the ones who have the same feel. Like, you listen to an MF Doom album, it's the same feel all the way through. It's an understated low thump kick with a soft rim shot, another rim shot type snare, airy keys and horns sprinkled through. A spacey 1970s feel like Brothers Johnson or some classic Earth, Wind & Fire. Freddie Gibbs goes semi-militant on this one, semi-revolutionary. Rick Ross does what Rick Ross do. Basically, you know how his money talk, but it fits the feel of the record. I don't think Rick Ross brings this record down in any way. I like his verses on here. I like the vibe that he brings. That hook, the revolution is the genocide, your execution will be televised, is extremely powerful, especially for this time, this era in the game. I think that we need more people to be talking about where we are as a race on all sides, not just black or white. This needs to be addressed, as far as we in a time where this could turn into an all-out civil war, and we need to be wary of where it's going. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody got this and that ready to go, but we need to figure out if that's what we really want to do. Next track, number 4, Look at Me. It's a soulful, vocal, repetitive hook. The Look at Me, has a wood block type of snare. It's not a snare, it's a wood block. Holding it together, the sample is strings and keys. They repeat, but they simple. It makes the song glide smoothly. Freddie only kicks one verse, keeping it ghetto, tabulous, as usual. Hard visual lyrics, black exploitation clips throughout. I believe in the beginning and the intro, the interludes. They add to the overall old school soul feel, the theme of the project. I think they caught the actual feel of it. I don't know if they sat down and said what they wanted or this was organic, but it feels extremely, like I said, I don't want to give Griselda all this credit for all these sounds, because we've been doing this since the beginning of hip-hop, but I think Griselda has made it cool again. You can see even with Royce went back to this minimalistic, soulful approach to these beats, and it works right now in 2020, because everything feels archaic almost in every freaking way. You know what I'm saying? It feels like we have stepped into a zone that this technology, none of this stuff can save you. You need to be survivalist, and that's what this feels like. Track 5, Frank Lucas featuring Benny the Butcher. It's a hard, flat kick and snare, bouncy bass pluck with a repetitive cinematic loop, complete with symphonic synth sounds, giving it a big amphitheater feel. Freddie attacks snitches along with thirsty females in this track. Has more street talk visuals and cautionary bars from a seasoned vet. Once you add Benny, he comes in, just another cocaine verse, cocaine raps. He raps Griselda well. You know what I'm saying? This dude, some of the mentionable lines, like when the Yankees won the pennant, is one of the lines I like, and he says, "If I was making y'all moves, we'd all lose." I like these type of bars. This dude is a big thinker. He's thinking. This dude is focused. This dude is legit nice. They fit like hand in glove. It seemed like these guys were meant to rap together. I don't know if they did before, but kudos to them. They sound vicious on this. Next track, Something to Rap About, featuring Tyler, the Creator. And this is weird because Tyler, there's no whack tracks on here. Let me just say that before I say this. I would not expect Tyler to fit on a song on this type of album, right? Because like the last time I saw Freddie, before this album came out, he did a video where it was like a 70s theme, and he was in a band, and he was doing, I don't pay y'all niggas, this and that. That seemed more Tyler. This album does not seem Tyler. But Tyler got on here, and he rapped. He straight rapped. It wasn't a whole lot of silliness, a whole lot of trolling. It was just bars. This dude at heart is a rapper. And I think Freddie, I don't know if they had to talk like, yo, bro, just spit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if he had to talk to him or he just did it. But God made me sell crack so I could have something to rap about. It's thought-provoking because it sounds very simplistic, but it's almost like God put me in these situations to learn from them. You understand? Not glorifying it, it is what it is. And on this particular track, Freddie addresses a few topics like his first record deal. I believe he said he got a $40,000 advance. Also, his stint in that jail, like when he got that false charge and he beat it, but he had to stay in it for a couple weeks, how slow it was going. He addressed that. Tyler addresses the rap business, and he also seems to reference his Odd Future members, whoever he has fallen outs with. I believe there's at least two of them, if not more. That just jealousy and just whatever. Alchemist appears to have put, it sounds like live guitar instrumentation over a piano loop held together by a tight snare, and it's mid-tempo, right, with a random string sample that elevates the aura. It's a dope track. That's 6 tracks out of 10. All of these tracks are good, and this is what I'm talking about when you go lo-fi. Like when I reviewed Jay Electronica's album, and I complained that the mix down was bad. These are excellent mix downs. This is when you have a guy that knows what he's doing. I believe Alchemist even has a song on Jay Electronica's album, but Jay Electronica's album was sloppy. It had the melodies were good, but they were mixed down sloppily. It's like they wanted them to have this buzzy, like I did this in the basement sound, and it did not work for me. This, on the other hand, is extremely well crafted, even though it's very simplistic. Like a lot of times, this guy will be doing a loop with just a loop and a guitar, and it works. This is way better than a lot of stuff that's coming out this year. This dude Freddie did one long verse on here, but it didn't feel like it was too long. It felt like that's it. I wanted more bars. This dude is nice. He engages you, and he makes you feel like you could listen to it a little more. It's half long, twice strong. You understand? Next track, Babies and Fools, featuring Conway. The All of Me Soul sample is looped. It's a jazzy mid-tempo track, and they play the loop in different pitch levels as to keep it compelling and not boring, which was, I found, very creative. How he sped it up, but it was still on time. Like he sped it, slowed it, sped it. I don't know if you noticed that, but that was very creative. Kept it funky. Freddie talks about loyalty to the streets in this track, in my opinion, and loyalty to the game. Meanwhile, Conway speaks on being shot and how he wants to be there for his family, but it's time to make his money, so he's doing what he got to do. There is no beat to speak of. Like I said, it's just a sample with horns and strings, but I find it to be dope. Next track, Skinny Suge, is a heavy old school breakbeat under a long guitar riff loop. It's another mid-tempo track. None of these tracks go too far off the tempo, with the mellow bass line at the bottom. Freddie spits more hood stories with eerie metaphors about dying over drug deals gone wrong and being murdered for robbing a connect. This dude is well versed in these street tactics and street tales, and they're very interesting. Most of the best albums will have some element of street to them that you can find a little element of danger or intrigue, and that's what makes good music. Last track, number 10, All Glass, is organs and keys looped with a 1960s trippy hippie style sample. It's just like a Charles Manson era type of music. Jesus Christ Superstar, all that good stuff like that. It's just drugged out music, which it fits the heavy drug dealer motif that Freddie effortlessly exudes. And in a nutshell, this album is dope. I give this album an A. This is one of the best albums of the year, in my opinion, because a lot of stuff I hear, I cut it off before I even get to the third track because it is garbage. This is a dope album, and this is far from garbage. I recommend you go out and listen to this album, man. Y'all be safe. I'm going to be right back with another joint. I got another joint I'm about to drop the review, and y'all might be surprised of how I feel about this album because it should have been better than it was. But on that note, my name is Chuck Wickil. Thank y'all for watching. I'm going to catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.